Welcome to Noobs, where we talk comics and pretty much all things superhero, nerd, gaming. You get the gist. I'm Odell,
JT.
and welcome to the show. So, what are we going to talk about first?
And you know what we want to talk about first.
Of course, we're going to have to go ahead and get the main topic, Deadpool, out of the way.
Now, at this point, everybody's seen the movie at least twice, I think.
Or should have. I've seen it twice.
Should have. Yeah. But, still want to just talk about first impressions, takeaways, whatever.
You know how you go to the movies to watch a movie, and before the end of the opening credits, you know this movie's going to be a piece of shit?
Yes.
Did not get that complete
exact opposite.
Literally 20 seconds in, I'm like, this is going to be a classic.
Well, yeah, I mean, the first 20 seconds with the slow motion it set the tone, and like as soon as they started, instead of putting up the cast members and directors' names, and instead they're putting up these funny descriptions of the people, you knew right from the start that they were off to in the right path.
The only people in the entire opening credits who got a decent description were the writers.
With the screen, of course.
They're the real heroes. Everybody else is a dick.
Yeah, or overpaid, or whatever, yeah. Sliding by on their looks. And it was, I think it was that self-deprecation kind of throughout the movie that really just kept it light, even when they were dealing with the darker subjects of the movie, like when he was being tortured, which, torture is a dark subject usually, but not in this movie. In this movie they kind of kept it, light as much as you can when it's torture. Yeah. So, I was talking to somebody else, and as far as experience, overall experience of going to the movies and watching it, I would say that it is the most fun and best experience that I've had, if not ever, in a long, long time, in recent memory at least.
I would say it's the funnest movie I've gone to a theater to watch since Guardians of the Galaxy.
I would even say I had more fun, as much as I love Guardians, I had more fun with this movie, because here's how I rate it. From the time that it literally, like the second that it started till the end of the second post-credit scene, I don't think I stopped smiling. Like, I had a residual smile even during the credits while I was just waiting, because that's how amazing it was. Like, there was literally every single thing hit perfectly, and I went so far as to say, I think this is, and I've thought about this a lot now since it's come out, and I'm pretty confident about this. I think it is my favorite superhero / comic movie ever. Like, I like it better than the Batmans, all of them, any genre, any of them, all the X-Men, all the Marvel Avengers, everything. Like, I think that it is my favorite as a standalone movie, at least.
Yeah, definitely my favorite standalone. And it's up there with Avengers in terms of enjoyment.
To me, I enjoyed it.
The movie.
I enjoyed it a lot more, I think, personally, but I think for me it was the total package. It was because not only was it enjoyable on its own merits, but it was enjoyable from a comic book perspective, because it was so good at keeping true to the source, more so than, well, especially for Fox, which is notorious for just doing whatever they want with the source material, but even more than some of the Marvel movies. It kept the tone, but and the look and everything else was just so spot on.
It felt like watching a comic book.
It really did. I mean, it's the best comic depiction that I've seen. I would argue, well, at least outside of an animated, comic film, and even better than many of those.
And again, we're coming from kind of like a comic book familiar background. I took my girlfriend to go see it.
Yeah.
And the first 30 minutes of the movie, she had that thing you were talking about, that just perpetual smile.
Yeah.
But it was more of a,
what is happening?
Know what's going on,
yeah, like, what the
I
hell
enjoy it.
Exactly, and I think that was another thing that really ranks it up there as just a good movie, because even people, like you said, that have no, like, he's already my favorite character. he's right there. Like him and Punisher are my two favorite characters, so we'll get to him in a little bit. It's been a good week for me, but so he's right there with Punisher as my two favorite. I would argue Marvel characters for sure, and top 3 comic book characters in general. Well, top 5 comic book characters in general, with Spawn, Batman, and maybe I guess Hellboy rounding out the top 5. But that being said, even somebody who had no idea who he was walking in could enjoy this movie. Yeah. It was just funny on its own. I mean, there's plenty of Easter eggs, so you got that added bonus if you knew what you're looking for. But it was just straight funny.
And that's what I was telling my friend. I was like, well, I'm not really into the whole comic book movie thing. And I was like, oh, well, this is the perfect comic book movie for you.
It really was. And I love how it's broken so many records. It's broken first time director records, opening weekend for an R-rated movie record, opening record for Valentine's Day.
That's how you know it was a good movie. The one day all guys are willing to sit through whatever crappy rom-com or love story or whatever it is.
They still convince their girls to go to this.
They end up watching Deadpool.
Like, listen, baby. Every year for the last 20 years and the next 20 years combined, I'll go see whatever horse shit rom-com you want to see. You know what? It's got Ryan Reynolds in it, baby. Oh, it's got Ryan Reynolds in it? Yeah. It's got Ryan Reynolds in it. It's a love story.
And he's nude.
Yeah, he flashed his dong. Oh, well, we go see that. This isn't a love story.
Why does he look like that? Just
I didn't say you would enjoy it.
Just go with it.
Never said you would enjoy it. I just said that it happened. And yeah, it was just so well done. And I was familiar with the director, but didn't know but I knew him as an actor and for his comedy and stuff. He's my favorite part of the HBO series Silicon Valley.
Okay.
So I already love him, but I didn't really realize that. And I even thought it was strange. I was like, oh, he's directing this. Like, I didn't realize he was the director. I didn't put it together. This was his first major movie that he directed. Mm. So it was, like, kind of perfect for him because it's like, here's a tiny little bit of money. Here's a director who, we're just not even going to, like, the studio was like, we're not going to touch it. And that's why it was so good because nobody from the studio was there to screw it up. Yeah. Like they do all their other franchises. Like, even, and we talked about this, even X-Men Apocalypse, I'm just like, I don't even know if I want to go see it. I'm so disappointed in what I've seen of it so far. And it's like, it seems like the bigger the budget, the more involved the studio gets, the worse the movie is. Because of the X-Men reboots, at least, they've gotten progressively less good. Like the first one, First Class, no, it was amazing. It was great, hit on all cylinders, good story, good acting, loved it. Second one, well, the original actors that came back are still good. Hugh Jackman was good. He's always good as Wolverine. But the story was there.
I get why that wasn't a great movie because it's weird to say it because it had a greater purpose.
Yeah, it reset the universe. I get that.
And I think
that's fine. Like I forgave Avengers for that same reason. Like the story didn't have to be great because it served a purpose and it was still entertaining. Like, and that's how I viewed Days of Future Past. It was like it didn't have the best story in the world. It was kind of predictable, and especially if you were at all familiar with the storyline it was based on, obviously. But even if you didn't, if you're just coming into it fresh, I mean, it wasn't really like a big shocker at the end. Okay. It's like, okay, well, this is kind of what I thought would happen, and so that's fine. You can forgive a relatively simple story if it's, like you said, serving a bigger purpose and still entertaining, which it, for the most part, was. Although it was still, even that, and the other movie I would compare it to would be Captain America Winter Soldier, which up until Deadpool was probably my favorite comic book movie because it was just a great movie on its own. It had a great story, it had great acting, it had great effects, and it was entertaining throughout. And this just barely, not just barely, this blew it out of the water, but that's for me personally. But I think this still is better because, again, there wasn't a second in the movie where I wasn't fully entertained. Even in Captain America, which was the best example up to that point, even in that movie, there was moments where you're like, looking around like, oh, what's going on? You know, like there's moments where you weren't completely embraced. Yeah, like okay, I get there's drama and I get that there's a story and you got to build it and that's great. I love all that, but you got to keep it engaging when you do that. And even Captain America, which did a great job on all things, even there was a few moments, although slight, that had that, where you were kind of like checking your watch, just curious, like and when it was over, you felt like you sat through a 2 hour movie, 2.5 hour movie. Like you didn't regret it, but you felt like you experienced it. When this was over, I was like, what the fuck, Like,
is it more?
Granted, it wasn't quite as long either, so there was that linking to it. But again, I can't go back to the fact that everybody in that theater with me, including myself, every one of us were captivated from beginning to end, even through the credits. So that to me is the whole point. Like that's what you and this is how I rate movies. I rate them as the experience the first time I watch them. Because I can always go back and nitpick a movie, although I can't really with this one. But you have to go why, huh?
I went in trying to nitpick it. I was like, okay, this can't be as good as I think it's going to be.
See, I went in with the opposite. I went in thinking it wasn't going to be good. Like, there's no way this is going to live up to the hype. There's no way it's going to live up to the character. This is not. I'm going to go see it because I have to. I have to see it. It's Deadpool. I owe it to the character. I have to go see it, but it's not going to be as good as it should be. I like Ryan Reynolds, and I know he's an Uber fan, and everything else, but they're not going to be able to pull it off. They're not going to be able. I really doubted it, and then I was blown away. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe it. Like they got it all right. I don't know how.
How did you get it? And that's very to touch on what you were talking about earlier. How like the studio kind of kept their hands off, and like, well, you guys, you figure it out. And like you were saying, that makes for good movies.
Yes, just give them the money. Hire people that are passionate about these characters in this franchise, people that want to make this movie, not just, hey, we have a movie we need to get made, you're a good director, we'll pay you to make this. Like, that's fine, and that works sometimes, but for movies like this, you need somebody that, like, comes to you like, look, please, we want to make this. We'll make it on a shoestring budget. Like, we will just, but it's gonna be good. Like, those are the movies that are good. And I mean, look at it, it blew out everything out the water, blew all these records out of the water. It made buku's a profit because it didn't cost anything to make.
Nothing.
Nothing on the movie. And it's got nothing but rave reviews. Nobody has not liked it. There hasn't been a person who watched this that hasn't liked it.
Here's where I knew it was a good movie. Because, as in every comic book movie, they will change things. Small things here and there throughout the story. Sure. And for us, with a comic book background, we see them like, hey, that's not right. You just ruined the story. With this, the little stuff they changed had zero effect.
And it was close enough that you're like, it's the same thing. It's like, it's almost like looking at two different versions. Like, it's almost like looking at original versus New 52 versions of an origin story. It's like, it's close enough. I get it.
Close enough.
In fact, I would say New 52 is actually a further departure. But
and spoiler warnings, if you haven't seen this,
then you're an idiot.
Number one, you're an idiot.
Why are you watching this?
And number two, you should probably like hit the sound. I'll give you a thumbs up when it's clear. But for instance, when he got his powers, and they were saying, Adrian said, "Oh well, this is something we concocted that will make your latent mutant genes if you have any activate."
Right, which is different than the Mutant X program or Weapon X program that birthed Wolverine and all these others.
He got his powers directly from Wolverine's DNA.
I don't know if it was direct. I would think it was a combination. I can't remember. But it was part of the Weapon X program, and it was, and they allude to, and they even, in fact, when they were talking, I was watching a behind the scenes or a documentary from Screen Hours. They kind of mimicked the Weapon X program without calling it the Weapon X program.
And I didn't know they were doing that on purpose.
Oh yeah, they did. They wanted to pay homage to it, but I don't know if there's a reason other than maybe just not wanting to, go too fanboyish with it. They didn't call it the Weapon X program, or maybe they didn't want to call that back to the abysmal first showing of Deadpool where he was created by the Weapon X program. And so maybe they were like, we're going to distance ourselves from that as much as possible, unless we're making fun of it, which is different. If we make fun of it, that's fine. But we're not going to sit there and use the same names like nothing.
My original thoughts were, okay, Deadpool 2 has already been cleared.
Which is amazing.
They're already talking about an X-Force movie.
Yeah.
So are they not saying this because they're going to go deeper in one of those two?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's where they're going to go with it. I think Weapon X program is a Wolverine story, and I think they're going to keep it a Wolverine story. And too bad that it got the shit movie that it got. But I think that's all you're going to get of it, other than maybe references if they bring in some like Lady Deathstrike characters or something like that. I don't think you're going to hear much more about Weapon X.
I don't think Weapon X has anything to do with necessarily with the Wolverine movies, as far as like Hugh Jackman is concerned and all that.
Well,
I mean, if they do a Weapon X movie, it will be a new person.
No, they won't do that. I don't think they'll do that. I really don't, unless they get a new actor to play Wolverine and they restart the whole thing, which I don't know how they're gonna do that.
Are they gonna restart, or as after X-Men Apocalypse there is another project?
I don't know.
That is more.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be Wolverine, is
like
what I'm saying.
The comic book version of the X-Men.
I really don't know, because even the new actors are starting, like, not getting old. I mean, they could play the characters for a while longer, but like, I don't know what they're gonna do after Apocalypse. I almost don't even care. Like, I'm kind of over it. I'm like, let's just let X-Men go for a while. Let's just let it go for a while and then restart it later on.
If you're gonna do an X-Men movie, it's one of those problems that the answer is so simple, you just don't get it.
Start over.
Just do the cartoon show. But they want an X-Men movie? Take 10 episodes of the show, squish them together.
Do the Phoenix Saga like they did in the thing.
But don't make it stupid.
That's what, no, like they did in the television series.
Yeah, just
or however you want it. But here's the
you don't even need to do you don't even need a real story. You could just have Giant Sentinel, X-Men, they fight.
Here's the thing. I'm over X-Men. Like I like X-Men and I like the comics, but there were so many other teams and characters who were so much better than the X-Men. And why they were the most popular, I don't know. Other than Wolverine, I guess I see the appeal maybe, but but even Wolverine, like, you know, X-Force, like, and Avengers, like, he was in other teams. So what made X-Men? I guess that was his predominant team, but what made them, you know, this thing that they had to take off? I don't know. They were just popular in the comics, I guess. But my point is, I would much rather them, like, after Apocalypse, let X-Men as a franchise just sit somewhere away and focus on X-Force. Like, let's watch an X-Force movie. That would be interesting to me. That's going to be something new. That's going to be fresh. You know, it's going to be a little bit harder. They're talking about maybe making that R now, of course. Like, we knew that was going to happen.
Every
but that's the thing. It's
movie now will be shooting for an R rating. At least from
that's what I worry about. Like, that was the one thing I didn't like about Deadpool getting an R rating. It needed to be R. It was one of those movies that only works as an R-rated movie. But now every other studio is going to be like, oh, yeah, we're going to R-rated movie too.
Well, I feel
like you don't need an R-rated X-Force. You can do it.
I feel like you do need an R-rated.
You don't. And it can be PG-13. It can be a hard PG-13. And Deadpool would have to really push the limit of that PG-13. But you could make fun of it. Because he could even say, hey, you know what? Oh, this is censor alert, you know, and like you could play it up. A Deadpool movie that was PG-13 would be kind of dumb. It would be disingenuous. It wouldn't work. But if he's in another movie like X-Force, as a supporting character, even X-Men, as a supporting character where he has to self-censor or is aware of the fact that it's a PG-13 movie and he breaks the fourth wall, although a lot less, I feel like that could still work. And I feel like X-Force could work as a PG-13 movie, and I almost think it needs to be PG-13 movie because X-Force I feel like would be a bigger budget movie at a necessity. And therefore it's going to need the extra audience to be profitable. So I almost feel like X-Force needs to be PG-13 to be successful as a movie.
I don't know. I feel like you've reached a level where you can put Deadpool's name on anything and it'll sell.
Maybe.
Think about it. Like 10 years ago, there wasn't 4 different titles with Deadpool in them.
Yeah.
He's got Deadpool and Spider-Man, Deadpool and Cable, Deadpool the main title, the Avengers title. He's an Avenger now. So we've seen him explode in popularity. Then he gets this R-rated movie that explodes.
But I don't want them to use him up. And that's again, the bigger he gets, the bigger the movie gets, the more involved the studio gets, the less risks they can take, and then the whole thing fails. Like, the reason it was successful is because they took risks, because they had the freedom to do that. And if you shackle them with a big budget, larger production crew, more influence from the studio, you're gonna get a half-ass movie. Like, you're gonna get a watered-down Deadpool, and then you're gonna hurt the character in any future movies with him in it. Like, they've even said, the writers even said in an interview, talking about Deadpool 2, which they're already talking about, and of course we know Cable will be in it, that, they're already talking about, like, it's not going to be in the future, it's not going to be time travel and all this other stuff. It doesn't need to be. It's going to be Cable coming to Deadpool's world, not Deadpool going to Cable's world. So it'll be modern day, and of course it makes more sense. And it'll be the same kind of gritty, close feel. And plus, Deadpool is best when he's alone or accompanied by a very, very small team. He works great with Cable. They have a great relationship, that frenemy type of relationship, and that can be fun to explore with the right character, with the right actor rather playing the character. But you got to keep it small. You got to keep it, local and at the street level. I mean, he doesn't go and he doesn't fight aliens. He's not gonna
He's not gonna show up in the Avengers movie.
Right. Or if he does, it'll be a cameo. It's not, and that's the way you want him. He's not gonna be fighting alongside Thor and the Hulk. Like, that's not what he does. He might get smashed by the Hulk and then regrow, and that would be funny.
That'd be perfectly fine if at the end of Infinity War Part 2, Deadpool pulls up with like 2 grenade launchers. He's like, "Okay, I'm ready," and they're just looking at him like, where? Fuck no. Or they just shoots him or something. I'm like, cool, fine. That was funny.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If anything, he should have a cameo at most. And I'm okay with that.
But as far as like R ratings go, I feel like Wolverine deserved an R rating. All of the Wolverine movies should have been R rated.
Well, I don't know. The first one was so bad it wouldn't have mattered.
But I don't think that was the movie you would have gotten had they had been greenlit for an R rating.
I don't know. I feel like the story was the story, and only thing you would have gotten maybe would be a little bit more gore and maybe some cussing.
I feel like with comic books, the rating pretty much writes the story. I feel like the movie is written, at least the script is written.
Well, that's any movie to an extent.
Well, you only get a PG-13, so all of this, if this has to go.
Yeah, I think that's any movie to an extent. Yes, maybe a little bit more for comic movie, but I don't think it's going to dictate the story so much as some of the elements of what goes into, like I said, the dialogue or the action scenes. It's really going to go into the depictions. Like, obviously, Deadpool at a strip club. Okay, they would have placed that encounter somewhere other than a strip club in a PG-13 movie. Or it would have been a strip club where they were all wearing bikinis or something. Like, it wouldn't have changed the story. It would have just changed the visuals that were being shot for the story. Like, and you could argue that that's good or bad, but the point is it wouldn't have changed the core element of the story. Like, you could make this Deadpool PG-13, and certain things would have to come out. Like, he couldn't cut his own hand off, probably. The strip club would have to be completely redone one way or the other. Would be a montage still, but a much different one. The fight scene where he's, fighting Ajax in the burning thing naked, like that would have to change. So, but again, you could still have a fight scene with Ajax. He just wears the gown. You could still have a club scene. You could still have the sex scene montage, just not show anything. You could still have him cut his hand off, just not show it in the gruesome way that you did. You'd have to lower the amount of jokes and things, and so it would definitely be a different. Huh? Yeah, no, I agree. That's what I'm saying. It would lower the movie, but it wouldn't change the story. So my point is, it doesn't work it's the same thing in reverse with like X-Men Origins. Even if you have made it R, and so now they can add in a few extra jokes and maybe some nudity or maybe some violence. But if the core story is the same, it's still gonna suck. That's my point. Speaking of which, this actually had nothing to do with any of that. Oh wait, anything else you want to see about Deadpool? Then go see it. Please, because I don't want to rush you. But made me think of something.
I will say there was a moment where I wasn't watching the movie again. I was watching my girlfriend's face. It was during the fight scene with Colossus. That was funny. And you could literally see the confusion
as he
and the amusement,
as he busts his wrists up.
Girl on her face. She's like. And she leans over, she's like, what's his powers again? Because he's getting that ass kicked. I'm like, just watch. And then later when he had the little hand, she's like, oh shit. It was hilarious.
That was well played. That was well played. And the line was really good. It's going to feel so huge in this little hand. Like, it's just all of it was just so well done.
Yes.
Everything was perfect.
It
really
makes me want the X-Force movie, and here's why. I would like it with an R rating, because I want real Wolverine and real Deadpool. And for that to work, you need funny kind of Ryan Reynolds Deadpool. The version we got in
Well, no, he's Deadpool. Like, that's if there's any more cinematic Deadpools, it's still gonna be him.
It should be.
Well, it's not gonna change that sauce.
And I want a grizzled, short.
You know what I want to play? You know what I want to see take over?
Hugh Jackman is short. He's like
he's not the tallest man in the world. But you know who would be a good Wolverine? And I think somebody's even mentioned this before. Would be oh my god, his name literally just left me. I feel like an idiot. Bane, Mad Max. Now that I'm putting him on the spot, I can picture his name. Why can't I think of his name? Everybody at watching this is yelling his name.
The Bachman, the man who broke the Bachman.
Yeah, it's like Hardy. Yeah, Tom Hardy. He would make a good Wolverine, I think. I think a little bit. I think he'd make a good X-Force Wolverine.
More like Gambit for something.
No,
I'm seeing him.
Not when he's big. Not when he's big.
It could be because I'm seeing Channing Tatum's face.
I don't like Channing Tatum as Gambit. I don't like that. I don't like that.
His jaw's a little too chiseled.
He's a little too big.
A little too.
Gambit's not a small man. Don't get me wrong, but he's more tall and lanky than he is built.
I think the bigness with Gambit in the trench coat won't show as much. But I don't know, maybe.
I don't know. I don't like Tatum as Gambit. Although I don't think he's still attached to it anymore. So I don't guess or maybe he is. I don't know.
Last thing I read, he was still attached.
Well, his name was still on
the script.
I don't care at all about
that.
I also don't care about that movie. I don't want to see Gambit in a standalone movie. Part of X-Men.
My favorite X-Men. So I want to see the movie because I want to see him portrayed.
Well, there you go. So you don't want to see the movie.
But I don't know why they were trying to make a Gambit movie.
Yeah, I feel like he should just be in the X-Men.
I feel like what they're doing is they're trying to say, let's pull in as many characters as we can with these convoluted, kind of cloudy backgrounds. So then we'll just do whatever the hell we want.
And maybe that's what they're doing, but I don't think it'll pay off. I think it's gonna flop. I think Apocalypse is gonna flop. I think if Fox has any future, it's the X-Force route. Go the X-Force route. Build those characters out. Build that team out. Even if you go the hard R, do the R-rated. That's fine. I'm not opposed to it. I want to see an R-rated. I just think that for movie purposes, for profit purposes, it has to be a PG-13. But all that to say, go that route. Build that team and those characters. I think you'll do better.
Get Liam Neeson to say yes. Have Ryan Reynolds show up to his house dressed as Deadpool.
No, I don't even want. You know, I've seen a lot of names thrown around for Cable.
I think if he can get the bulk up,
I can see it, but I want to see. I would rather see a younger man who dyes his hair white play Cable. And I know that maybe doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but like when you look at him in the comics, that's a young man's body. He's just got some yellow. He's just got some white hair. He just got some old white hair. But he's a young man, built young. Get a younger guy to play an older Cable. It's okay. You can do that. Nobody really jumps out at me as Cable. So like I really
nobody young.
Nobody old really jumps out at me. Like I like how they were like, maybe Dolph London, Mel Gibson. And I'm like, yeah,
I don't like Mel Gibson.
I get it, but Dolph London maybe if he was a little young, like even
put up the bulk.
I feel like Dolph London if he was younger, not like Rocky younger, like first Expendables younger, maybe a little younger.
I like him now, so I can definitely see.
I like him now, but he's starting to like his bulk isn't there, his muscle tone isn't there, and if nothing else, Cable has some impressive muscle tones. Like his arms are some of the biggest in the comics. He just is. He is a really well built physical character.
And
You
uber
need
powerful.
somebody, yeah, and you need somebody that can just walk on the set and portray that. You know, he's a very unique looking person, and especially if he's gonna stand next to the photo, copy of Deadpool on screen. Like you took Deadpool off the screen and you made him real. So if you're gonna do the same thing for Cable, then do the same thing for Cable. Like, granted, it's a little harder because it's an actual face now. You're not wearing a mask, which obviously makes it easier. But at least get the body type right. And I don't think Liam Neeson's gonna pull it off. I don't think Dolph Lundgren can pull it off now. I think he could have 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, somewhere in that range. He'd be old enough that people would buy it, but young enough that he would still look it. Stallone, if he was a better actor.
No.
If he was a better actor.
No.
If he was a better actor.
No.
Yeah.
Fuck. No.
If he was a better actor.
Call Arnold. If we're gonna do
No.
If we're gonna go that right now,
No.
call Arnold.
No.
I guarantee you, his arms will look perfect.
No. Oh, hey, you know what?
Schwarzenegger is still the Terminator.
Statham might not be bad.
Nah.
But again, not a good enough actor, I don't think.
He might be able to play a good Gambit.
Statham?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, Gambit from the comic books, Gambit. Not
No.
Gambit from the Harvey Williams movie, Gambit.
No.
Which was also a bad pick for Gambit, by the way. I like the
No,
actor.
the actor wasn't even a bad look. He just had really bad story to go with.
The story was bad.
The whole movie
And
was
he
bad. Let's not
wasn't
talk about it.
great-
It makes me sad. I don't know who I would cast as Cable. Like, that's a hard one, and I don't envy them in that position.
That's going to take a while. I think that will be the biggest holdup of the movie.
His name escapes me, as many do, but the guy from Avatar has been thrown around, and he wants it. And
he kind of looks a little Cable-ish now that I
sure,
think.
and he's got the good.
Yeah.
So which he's kind of the front runner because he wants to do it. The fans want him to do it. He's kind of got the look. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's just Lang. I forgot his first name. But I'm okay with that. He wouldn't be my first choice because I don't think he's a perfect fit. But I think he's closer than any of the other people.
Oh, yeah.
So, I just can't think of anybody else that really embodies Cable to me. And Cable is my, he's in my top 10 as well. He's one of my favorite characters as well. So I really want to see him done right. So when Deadpool 2 comes out and it's Cable and Deadpool in the same movie, the only thing that would make that better for me is Deadpool and Punisher. If somehow those two were on the same, that would be if all three of them were in a movie together, I'm done.
Another thing, and I'm sorry we have to keep going back to this movie, but it was that good. The little shots Deadpool took at not only
movies.
all of them.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
Stewart and McAvoy.
The part where he's at the X Factor, he's like, "Oh,
why don't we see every two of you guys?"
I guess the directors couldn't.
No, it's almost like the studio couldn't afford any more X-Men. Which is funny because that's exactly what happened. That was actually an ad lib by Ryan Reynolds apparently because originally they had two different characters that were gonna play the strong girl, Angel, and so. They had to replace those two characters with her, and then there was an additional character that kind of just got rolled into Weasel's character. So they had to cut out 3 or 4 different side characters from the X-Men universe. These were not created characters; these were actually pulled from the comics. But because of licensing or because they couldn't afford the actors, they had to condense. And I
like what they did with that. Because a lot of the Easter eggs and places they went were names of people. From the comic book.
Yeah, or from the movie.
Yeah.
Or something. The one of the streets was named after the writer of the creator of Deadpool. Another one was Miller Street. Things like that. And then the other thing that was interesting, I thought, from the interview was when the scene where he left his guns in the car. Not an afterthought, but it was a fix to a budget problem. Because originally when they wrote it, he really went in with all those guns, and it was gonna be a major gunfight. And I'm sure it would have looked spectacular. But they ran out of money, and they're like, we got to cut. And they're like, well, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll just have him forget his guns in the car. And so then they shot the extra scene where the cabbie has the accident, and then the person runs in the back, and the trunk pops up. It's like, So you lost the major, huge battle, but you gained this hilarious scene,
and you still got a nice battle.
and you still got a battle where now he's going rocking with his swords. Like that still works. It's still Deadpool.
Was one of the few things I was waiting on for the movie, because the first fight I was like, okay, gunfight, cool, awesome, hilarious. He's running out of bullets. Couldn't have been better. I want swordplay now.
Yeah.
The way it finally ended, he went all swords, and I was like, God damn it, yes.
And yeah, it was great with the swords versus axe. It's like it's low budget, but it looked so good. It was well done.
Cool.
It was really cool. And Ajax is the perfect character to do something like that with, because you're not going to kill him with a sword, but any other character would have been put out of commission after one or two slices or stabs. Like most characters get impaled through the shoulder, like that's it. The game's probably over. It's like, oh, okay. No more of that mess. I'm certainly not going to be swinging an axe around with the hand you just stabbed. Yeah. But Ajax, he's probably tearing his shoulder apart, but he doesn't know it, he doesn't feel it, so he's going to keep going with it. And so he was the perfect character. It all just came together really nicely. That it worked.
What really made that movie good? Every obstacle that movie should have had,
they turned into an opportunity.
Not only an opportunity
to shine,
and they did.
Yeah, every time.
Like, okay, what are we gonna do about his healing factor? That's really expensive. Little hand joke, taken care of. How are we gonna?
Or the one scene where he's like healing the hole and he's looking through it. All you need, those 2 times you've established he can heal.
And it was fun. And I almost didn't even catch it, because the first time you see the hole, and then he goes back to fighting, and you're like,
the hole's gone.
Wait a minute, the hole's up there. Oh, healing factor. Cool.
Yeah.
That's
right. You don't need the CGI. It's just there's a hole there. It's obviously there. We're looking through it, and now it's not there anymore. Or the little hand. Yeah, you don't need to. Yeah, they could have very easily gone the cheesy route of having him cut his hand off and then some stupid CGI. And at first I was like, why isn't his hand back? Like it should be starting to grow back by now. But with the way they did it, it made a lot of sense, and it was cheaper, so it made more budgetary sense for the movie. It's just, again, like you said, they turn their weaknesses into strengths every single time.
I really think they need to take this formula for this movie and apply it to all of their movies. And here's why. I think it would. If they said, okay, we need to do a Superman Batman. Let's write the script and write it in a way that we are spending as little money as possible.
See, I'm going to disagree.
And then all of the problems as far as expense-wise, for like fight scenes and shit like that, let's try and think of a really innovative and cool way to get this point across.
No, here's why.
And then you build it up with the bigger budget.
No, here's why. Because Batman movies are spectacle movies. They're like Avenger movies. You don't make them on a budget. Everything blows up. Batman flies around in a jet. And he has at least one Batmobile car, which by itself is going to be more than the entire Deadpool budget. Like, it's just the way it is.
The car costs as much as Colossus.
Probably. And you're just going to wreck it. Like, that's the thing. You know you're going to wreck the damn Batmobile. You do it in every movie. So you're going to build a $250,000, $500,000 car, probably more than one, and then you're going to wreck them. It's like, that's just what you're going to do. And it's fine. I mean, it works really well in those movies, but you're not going to make a Batman movie on a budget. You're just not going to work. It's going to, it could be done, but it wouldn't. It would have to be a solo Batman movie. It would have to be like Suicide Squad feel to it. It would have to be really dark, gritty, small. And I don't think that it would work as well.
I think that's the type of Batman movie we need.
And I think we might get one of those with Affleck. Oh, and so here's a rumor. So apparently the people at Warner Brothers are very, very concerned about this movie.
Yes, I remember.
They are very unhappy with the movie. They love Affleck. They love the Batman, which, from what I've seen from this latest trailer, which was amazing, and completely redeemed the shit second trailer, or whatever it was that came out, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
That really made me not want to see this movie. Now I want to see it again. But again, the only reason I want to see it is for Batman. But they've even said, like, if this movie doesn't make $1 billion, at least, you're not going to see Justice League. It's not going to happen. You're probably not going to see Justice League. They're going to scrap the whole thing. You're going to get more Batman movies. But it's going to be Ben Affleck Batman movies, and they're probably going to tie in Suicide Squad.
And I don't understand why.
Because these movies, because
I
they're
don't
not gonna.
I don't understand
I can see
why
it.
they made Batman versus Superman. Nobody can give me
Because everybody wants to see Batman versus
you have
Superman.
Justice League on the table.
Yeah, but you have to introduce Justice League, and I don't think this is a bad way to do that.
You
But
have
here's the thing: I don't think people want.
characters in literature.
I don't think
Marvel
people want to see
literature.
Justice League. I don't think that they. Maybe they do, but I don't think they really want to see Justice League as much as they think they do.
I think I think that would have been their Avengers in the sense of
And that's what
nobody
that
really
was the
cares
plan.
about Thor. Nobody really cares about Iron Man. Oh shit! You put them all in one movie, they're fucking amazing, and
Because they play off each other as a team.
It's
Sure.
wow. This
That's why
really
the X-Men
works.
standalone movies don't work. Like you can't do it.
Suck.
It's a team that you care about the team. And I get that with Justice League, but the difference with the Justice League is you care about the individual characters more than the team. Specifically, Batman, and maybe to a lesser extent Superman.
I
But the
feel
problem
this-
is,
I feel
like-
they should have saved this for their attempt at a civil war. Do Justice League 1. Have something happen. They could have went with the OMAC project. Superman and Batman disagree. They fight. End of movie. Back on to next Justice League number 2. And you're done. To make a movie about Batman and Superman fighting and then say, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to introduce more or less the remainder of the founders of the Justice League.
And Doomsday.
And Doomsday.
And somebody else who's some unrevealed bad guy.
Who is probably Darkseid.
Probably, we think.
I'm thinking just because
based on
those were definitely
they showed
Terra demons.
And they were definitely, and it was definitely the Omega symbol.
Yes.
So, probably.
Or at least somebody,
But
if not Darkseid,
I don't
his
think you're
son,
gonna. No.
or somebody from
You're not.
Apocalypse.
Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah, like a herald of some type. Like, coming ahead. I think you're gonna have a very quick teaser at the end. I think that's all it's gonna be. And I wouldn't even be surprised
They're
if
gonna
the.
pull a Thanos. They're gonna pull a Thanos.
Yeah, I mean, they are. They're definitely gonna do that. You're not gonna fight. The Doomsday is the big fight in the movie. And they can say that he's not, but he probably is. You might introduce another bigger, badder character for Justice League, but you're not going to fight him in this one.
No.
You don't have time.
And I believe, it could be just another wrong script of me. I believe whatever it was Lex Luthor's, like some type of security system or something that goes rogue, and that's what the Justice League ends up fighting. At least
So like a domestic version of Brainiac.
yeah,
That sounds horrible.
like that.
See,
But-
again, they're screwing with the words. We don't know if that's what's happening.
Yeah.
But we don't really know what's
I'm
going on.
hoping
I'm
it's
gonna
really brutal that's
I'm
coming.
gonna go into it, but this is how I'm gonna go into that movie. Very low expectations and excited to see Batman. Like that's all I care about. Anything else that happens in the movie, if it's good, I'll be excited.
Let me ask you this: do you think the movie would have been better if they had placed it in the future?
No.
In the sense of, okay, Justice League and all this stuff has already happened. It's already over with.
No.
This is happening afterwards.
No,
to make it more like the comic book.
No, I don't think you could do that because you have to introduce I don't think so because you have Superman because you're building off of Man of Steel, and you're taking that same Superman who's new. So it makes sense to go directly into this new story. It makes sense that Batman is already an established character in the world that you just didn't reference in the first movie. Because he's so well known, you don't need a backstory. And they're still going to give you one. It's just going to be a smaller version. And it makes sense that he's been around a while. And they're going to explore that more in Suicide Squad and then probably a future Batman movie, and that's fine. So I think what they're doing as a concept works. Even bringing in Justice League at the end, I think, works. My thing is I don't think they executed it well. I don't think the concept was bad. I don't think the plan was bad. I just don't think they executed well.
I'm hoping what happens is the Lex Luthor thing is before the Doomsday thing, if it's real.
I hope it's just not
running
real.
around and fighting, blah, blah, blah. Then you have Doomsday break out, and that's the fight.
I don't know.
But I could see that. Because my question is, if Wonder Woman pops up during the fight, what is keeping everybody else from popping up during this fight?
Disinterest? I don't know. Maybe they're not.
Flash is like, I'm just fast. They got it.
Yeah, so, and who knows? For all we know, they do show up in this fight. We just haven't seen it yet. We don't really know. And that's, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to judge it too harshly yet because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the story's going to be. All I am convinced of at the moment is that I like Affleck as Batman, and he's going to be a badass Batman. That this just the 1 minute scene we saw of him laying down that cartel
He
game.
fought like Batman.
He looks like the Batman from the comics fighting.
Yes.
He's
exactly.
mean, he's brutal, he's fast, he's powerful. You know, and Christian Bale did a fine job. Don't get me wrong, he did a great job, and it was a fine whatever. It kind of fell apart at the end, but his fighting style wasn't bad, but it was definitely a little bit flashier and less brutal. This is less flashy, but brutal. I mean, he punches that guy. The guy does a full fucking somersault and lands face first into the ground. Like, that is Batman. Just like, that's like a 200 pounds of force coming in on that punch. He takes that guy and just slams him right down. You know.
Okay, yeah. You're Batman.
That's Batman. And the whole time, he's going at breakneck speed. You know, none of this waiting for the guys to come to him. Like, Dark Knight, like, that was his fighting style. It was more defensive, offensive, right? Like, wait for the guys to come to me. Like, and that's fine. It kind of looked cool. This Batman's like, nah, I ain't got time for that bullshit. I'm going to come to you and beat you up. Yes.
I'm going to break something.
It's like he's running the whole time. You know,
It's
he's throwing
Batman
people
from
in the...
Death in the Family.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Freeze, done.
Everybody's
done. Riddler, done.
You're going on the ground in the hardest possible way and as fast as possible. And that was like why it was such a great line that they included where like you just saw him and everybody's reaction I think was the same like this Batman is fast and he's strong and he's mean. And then he goes, I'm getting slow. It's like, yes!
Really?
That's what shit Batman would say. Because he's already 10 times better than anybody out there. And then he's going to be like, God damn it, I could have been faster.
To me, that was like, that added more credence to when he looked at Superman and said, do you bleed?
You will.
I'm like, okay, I see why you're going to try to make Superman bleed. Now, my only worry is we're going to get Superman that nothing can face him. And throughout the fight, he looks like it's the beginning of the fight.
No, but we already know that's not going to happen from the trailer. Because, one, in this trailer, you saw him block Superman. Which, by the way, was my favorite part of the trailer after the fight. Because the face... And this is why I like this version of Superman. And it's strictly because of the actor. He plays an amazing Superman. He's the only guy that's ever made me care about Superman. But his face, when he's... But first of all, why are you doing some kind of weird sideways hook punch anyway?
Because I'm Superman, and I don't have to hit you really hard to beat.
He's like, yeah. But then Batman's like, ding, and like, and you hear that, you see the sparks, and you hear that, it almost sounds like metal on metal, like real Man of Steel, like, and he's like it's just his face is like so perfect, like disbelief and shock.
It's like, oh,
and and then Batman's just like. Just focus. Like, he doesn't smile. He doesn't grin. Like, no, it wasn't shot. Like, oh, thank God it worked. Right? Like,
I knew it.
Or, fucking told you, Or, what now, boy?
That's Frank Miller's Batman.
It was.
And that was his face.
Yeah, it was.
Goddamn Batman. Ugh.
What did you think was going to happen? Of course I'm going to block you, you stupid alien.
And that's what makes Batman cool as a character. Because he's the goddamn Batman.
Yeah, like this.
I don't need your fucking superpowers. I really don't need this cape.
No,
or
you
this
know what makes him
cowl.
Batman? You know what makes Batman is like, and they did this in the movie too. This is why I'm excited about the movie. I'm excited for the Batman versus Superman part. The parts that concern me are the Dawn of Justice part. But the Batman versus Superman part, I feel like they're going to do really well with. Because the scene where he rips the doors off the damn Batmobile, I fucking don't give a fuck. He don't even blink. He just stands straight up eye to eye with this invincible being. He's standing eye to eye with God. And he's just, what? Who blink? You're going to blink. Like, I'm Batman. I'm going to fucking Batman. Like, come on.
You stared into the abyss, and you blinked.
Yeah, it's like... And then Superman's the punk that leaves. Superman leaves.
You know, in his defense, if I was a god, or at least a demigod in his circumstances, in some normal human being with no superpowers whatsoever, was bold enough to not only stand eye to eye to me, but then when I try and bullshit punch him, he has the nerve to block it without a flinch, I'd probably walk away. Like, you're not quite human. I'm going to go over there and then I'm heat vision you to death.
No, man. I don't know. That's what makes... Yeah, I don't know. Like, Batman's just... I don't know. And I feel like Affleck's. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like Affleck and whatever. You can say what you want. I think he's a good actor.
He's a good actor.
Well, recently in the last 10 years, I feel like he's been a good actor. I feel like he's a good person for both Bruce Wayne, because he really does look like that old man, pissed off Bruce Wayne.
He does.
He plays that really well.
He's starting to grow on me with the look. I still hate the suit.
It's just a really mean ass Batman.
And I figured out what I hate about it. I don't like the giant bat. I don't like the.
I love it, man. It's a kickback to it's a kickback to the comic. I love it. I think it's amazing. I love the suit. It's my favorite version of the suit on screen. His cowl is made out of titanium. It's got built-in lenses. This is his regular cowl, not his Superman. Not his Superman armor. Just his regular cowl is made out of titanium. It's got Superman armor either. I don't care for that. It looks clunky and bulky, but it copies the comic, so I know why they did it. But I don't really like that as well. But I'm gonna forgive it because everything else looks amazing.
You know what would be awesome? And I know it's not gonna happen because there's just two different versions of the story. If somewhere during the fight, Green Arrow shoots a kryptonite explode arrow at Superman.
I'm thinking that there's something in his gauntlets that are kryptonite powered or something like that. It's got to be.
Because I think there's a reason Lex Luthor has been playing this whole Batman versus Superman thing up, and I think
he's intimidated by Superman. He wants to get rid of him, and so he wants the Batman to do his dirty work. And when Batman doesn't do his dirty work, he's like, okay, well, I'll do it with I'll do it with Doomsday or whatever else he's got planned. But
what would be awesome is if the Batman Superman fight has nothing to do with Doomsday.
Let's hope. I don't think it does. I think that's gonna be completely separate. But who knows? We'll see what happens. Last piece of news, and he's got to go. He's the whole of this time.
Anyway,
quickly, and I want to talk more about this, but we'll have to do the Daredevil season 2 trailer with the Punisher. That's what I was saying. It's been a good week. Not only did I get to see Deadpool in all of his glory in the theaters, I got at least a glimpse of what looks to be a fairly close depiction of the Punisher. And I was a little about this particular actor playing it. Shane.
I wish they could have got the same actor, but Shane looks like he's.
I was afraid. I was afraid when I watched it. All I was gonna see is Shane and a black T-shirt, and there's still there's still a little bit of that, but I'm starting to see Frank more, and I feel like when I'm watching it in the series, like I gotten enough through the trailer now that they finally released, showing the Punisher finally. I've gotten enough of that I feel like when I watch the series itself that I won't see Shane. I will see Frank Castle and I will see the Punisher, and that's what I'm hoping. And from what I've heard, everybody that has seen it, all the executives, whatever, say that he's this is the dude. Like they're not officially saying anything, but there's already some grumblings. Like, okay, he's gonna get a series. He's good. People are gonna respond well. We're not gonna do anything officially till it comes out and we hear fan feedback. But he's probably gonna get a series.
If he gets a series, I think Jessica Jones goes away.
I'm fine with that. No, Purple Man was the best thing about Jessica Jones. I'm okay for her to go away. She won't go away because she'll be in Defenders, but that's okay. And remember, there are still
solo show goes away.
I'm fine with that. I don't care. I'm not interested in Jessica Jones. The series was okay. The acting on her part was okay. Everything was just okay except for Purple Man. I
love Purple Man. I did not like her.
Yeah, Purple Man made that series. The only reason I watched that series after the 3rd episode was for Purple Man. That was the only thing that kept me going was David Tennant's Purple Man, which was amazing. I mean, and the fact that they killed him, I wish it would kill Jessica Jones. They kept Purple Man. It would have been better.
From all of the Marvel fans on the planet who love your cinema and your TV shows, do us a favor.
Quit killing off your good bad guys.
Yes, you have.
God damn
the
it.
only one left is Kingpin.
Yeah. And it's Purple Man was a great character. You could have brought him back, put him in jail or something, and shelve him for a little bit.
Just put a container on his face. He can't talk.
Who?
Just Purple Man. They could have just put something on
That's
his
what I'm
mouth.
saying. You could have done something.
Put him in a corner.
Put him in a... No, they already had the answer in the movie. Or in the series. Put him in a container. Yeah, just in the cell. Perfect. His pheromones can't get out. He can't control people. have some kind of electronic lock where if you're within a certain proximity, you can't open it. It can only be opened remotely by somebody that's in like another facility somewhere. It's like there's certain safeguards that could be put in place, and I feel like, and especially now that Jessica Jones is immune, obviously you can synthesize from her some type of antidote. I think. So I feel like there's so much more they could have done instead of just killing him. What a waste. He was probably the best villain that Marvel has put on screen. For me.
Him?
And I'm counting the movies and the TV
and
series.
Ultron.
No.
I say Ultron?
Ultron? No.
Oh, I loved Ultron as a villain.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. He did fine, but he didn't. He wasn't Purple Man. He wasn't as engaging as Purple Man. I could watch a Purple Man series.
As Purple Man, but the fact that he hated Tony Stark so much and yet was in so many ways exactly like him, it made for an interesting conflict, at least for me.
Sure, I'm not trying to discount that. I'm just saying, as far as overall characters, for me, I feel like take Ultron and put him in another scenario, I'm not gonna care as much. Like it made sense in that particular scenario, but Purple Man, I would watch a series with just him walking around like fucking with people. Yes, which there was a fair amount of in Jessica Jones, where he's not even with Jessica Jones. He's just doing his own thing and plotting his own schemes. I'd see more of that. Like he was a character, a villain who, like Kingpin, but even more so, in my opinion, than Kingpin, you really just enjoyed seeing what he was gonna do. Because he wasn't just a typical show up, bust something up, take a lot of hits, and then, bad guy. He was a thinker. He was a schemer. He was cold. He was really cold. It's like, see how long it takes to put your head through the wall. Like, just
go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Didn't think that one through. Yeah. It's like, and then somehow, by the end of it, you kind of feel for him.
Yes, because you realize his parents were assholes.
Yeah, that too. But it's like, I don't know. And a lot of that was David Tennant's performance, but you shouldn't have killed that character. You should have kept that character. Point is, Punisher looks good. If they kill Punisher in this series, I'm done. I'm never watching Daredevil again. I'm done. I'm sorry, Netflix. I don't think they're going to kill him either.
I'm going on record to say
no, I don't think
Netflix will not do that.
I don't think they will either, but I hope he gets his own series. Like, I haven't even seen him yet, but I'm already like, please, I need a Frank Castle. I need a good Frank Castle. I wanted a good Punisher movie. I'll take a series. And if it's a Netflix series, I think it'll probably be better than a movie. So I'm okay with it. But anyway, with that, we got to roll. A lot of fun stuff happened this week. We'll see you next week for even more, probably. And that's it.
I'm Odell.
JT.
Peace.
Bye.